A couple of months ago, we shipped our 22-year-old Land Rover Defender called Moose from the UK to Canada. Since then, we've driven just under 10,000 miles and spent 60 nights camping in forests, mountains, and parking lots. We've seen bears, bison, and some of the most incredible landscapes we've ever experienced. Living out of a Defender every single day teaches you a few things about some of the pieces of kit that you brought with you. Some of which we couldn't have done without, and others turn out to be far less important than expected. And there are a few things that you don't realise you need until you're halfway across a continent wishing you had one. So before we continue our Canadian adventure, we thought we'd take a look at the modifications, accessories, and bits of kit that have made the biggest difference to life on the road, and a few things we'd definitely add if we were going to build Moose again.
So going into this trip, we genuinely had no idea which of the modifications that we'd made to the truck would become the most useful and make life easier on a day-to-day basis. You can be very tempted when planning an overland trip, when building an overland truck, to start spending lots and lots of money very quickly just to make things look cooler. But after 10,000 miles, these are the things that we have found to be the most useful.
So one of the biggest modifications we did to Moose when we got her was install the pop-top roof from AW 4x4. This was one of the biggest and the most expensive modifications that we made, but it was absolutely essential for our trip, as we wanted to be able to have the ability to stand up inside, to sleep, and it really creates more of a comfy, living, homey space, which was really important to us when we were going to be travelling around Canada for 6 months. So that is probably our number one modification for our road trip.
So the next most useful thing is probably the trasheroo. Now, we actually came to Canada without this, but within a matter of weeks we realised that we really needed somewhere to store stuff outside the car, like our propane, a bin, wet shoes, and bits and pieces. So we ordered a trasheroo, and that has genuinely been one of the most useful modifications. Simple, but very effective.
Next up, we have the Lifesaver jerry can, and this nifty little piece of kit basically means that you can fill up from any water source in the world, apart from a salt water source, because it's got a clever little filtration system in here which produces clean and safe drinking water, which is very handy if you're out in the middle of nowhere and not able to fill up from a reliable potable water source. So this could get you out of a lot of sticky situations, and that is why it has made our top list.
So in our 10,000 miles or so across Canada, we have spent a lot of that time on dirt and dusty roads, and that's where our snorkel or raised air intake comes in pretty handy. It moves the air intake up here, which means you're not collecting dust and all sorts of crap as you're driving along, and obviously it serves a secondary purpose as a snorkel. If you do find yourself going through deep water crossings, which we have on a couple of occasions, it's one of those modifications that you hope that you never need, but in the instance that you do find yourself in a little bit of a pickle, it can come in very handy and save your car. So that's why that's going quite highly on the list. So in the same vein as the snorkel, our BF Goodrich KO2 tyres, they have been absolutely fantastic. Like we said, about 10,000 miles through gravel, off-road, through rivers, blah, blah, blah. They have just quietly got on with the job. No punctures.
Touch wood.
Touch wood so far. No fuss. Yeah, they have just been excellent. So tried and tested tyre, and we can see why.
So when you're living out of a Land Rover Defender, which, let's face it, isn't the biggest amount of space for two grown people, you can never have enough storage. So that's why we have two front runner boxes that are mounted onto our roof rack, and that is just for all the stuff we just don't want to keep inside, all of Ollie's mechanicking stuff or tools. What else is in there? Oil. Just random things that you wouldn't want inside in your living space. It's kind of like if you had an actual house or garage on the roof. So that's very handy in order to keep a nice little bit of separation between living and mechanical and dirty things. So they are also quite high up on our list.
So next on the list is our VFO dash cam. It shoots 4K out the front and has an internal fisheye and a rear camera as well. The rear camera in particular has been very useful because obviously our back window is covered with all of our kitchen utensils. So this just means with our rear camera we can see out the back. It's recording 24/7, well, whenever you're driving, and also has a parking system. So when you're parked up, it will record in a lower bit rate, just in case, you know, something happens, particularly in the UK with Defenders, that would be quite useful. But yeah, that's been really helpful, and also just allowed us to get some more sort of personable footage, you know, moments from inside the cab with our fisheye lens here. So that has also been a great addition for security, and also just for a few more sort of bits for our filming as well.
So that was all of our top modifications that we've done for Moose for our trip around Canada. Now we're going to talk a bit more about the things that we wish we had done in hindsight, now that we have done almost 2 months today we've been on the road for. So after 2 months today on the road, these are the things that we wish we had thought about and installed for our 2026 Canada trip. The first being
an inbuilt air compressor, because trying to inflate these tyres, or sorry, air down and air up these tyres with the traditional little air compressor hasn't gone too well.
Nope.
We've already burnt one out, and yep. So having something that would just make that system, that process much easier would be really handy. So I think that's something for the next build.
Yes. Another thing for the next build is something that, when we arrived in Nova Scotia at the beginning of April and it was snowing and not quite minus but very chilly, we wish we had, and that is a diesel heater.
Yeah.
It's something that we didn't really think about, or we didn't think we had enough room for, and since being on the road, I think it's something that we just find really handy. I mean, I can't even picture the amount of nights we were sat in the back of the Defender with both of our winter jackets on and our feet were numb, and we bought one measly candle and we both held our hands over it
this little candle
to try warm up. And yeah, although it didn't last long and now we have glorious sunshine, probably don't need it for future trips where we may want to go to colder places. A diesel heater is definitely something to
add on.
Yes, that we want
for sure.
And then the final thing,
the final thing, in addition to our front runner storage boxes, we debated putting one of the side lockers in, like the old military Defenders have. We decided against it in the end, just because I actually don't really like how they look, but potentially that would have been quite handy just for, we've got a few bits that kind of float around, so just to get those away, just as an extra storage space basically. But we did see on, who was it? Next Meridian Expedition. They have like one that's on the chassis, and that looks fantastic because you can't even see it. So I would like that one very much.
We'll take what we can get.
And then finally, I mean, I've been trying to pitch it to Lily because, you know, winches look really cool and winch bumpers look really cool.
I didn't even know this was on our list.
No, that's why I've just added it. But a winch is one of those things, a bit like the snorkel in some regards, that you hope that you never need, and they are really expensive. But having spoken to a few people and having seen some of the trails that, you know, people are tackling, particularly for traveling solo, that's probably something to consider as well.
Just a point, this is a very recent change for Ollie, because he came to Canada with the thought, or the what's the word I'm looking for, with the idea that when you have a winch you're looking to get stuck.
But now I've realised, being here, that getting stuck, A, is fun, and B, means you get to some better places. Because in the UK, if you get stuck, somebody will find you within a matter of hours. Here, that's a slightly different story. So yeah.
There you go. Winch is
so I think a winch spot as well. Yeah, and they look cool. Yeah. So yeah, those
that is our pros and So yeah, that is our pros and our wish we could have / I want.
List.
To quote my sister's Pinterest I want page.
Okay.
That is what we have and what we want. And I hope you guys find that helpful.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, let us know.
As always. Bye! The funny thing about a setup like this is that you never really finish building it. You just evolve it as you go. Every few thousand miles, you start to realise what actually matters, what just takes up space, and what you thought you needed, but really didn't. But that's the point of a trip like this. You learn as you go. And as we keep heading further west into the Rockies and north towards the Arctic Circle, Moose is slowly becoming exactly what it needs to be for the next part of our journey.